This is more than just a house. This is a hemp home. And what's happening here is a revolution in construction. Imagine building homes that clean the air, regulate temperature naturally, and last for generations. That's the power of hemp. Hemp lime construction, also known as hempcrete, is a mixture of hemp hurd and lime powder. It's carbon negative. It pulls CO2 from the air as it cures. Unlike concrete, it breathes, reduces mold, humidity, and energy bills. Hempcrete is fire-resistant, pest-resistant, and non-toxic. Hemp Homes LLC is veteran-owned, locally built, and community-driven. And we're not just making homes. We're creating jobs, empowering landowners, and healing the earth. The future of construction is regenerative. The future is now. We are Hemp Homes LLC. HempHomes.com. Build better, live better, and be better.
My granddaddy worked this soil with pride, but now they're telling me what I can't grow inside. Inside these fields have fed our family for years. Now paper pushers got me fighting back tears. I'm standing here on my own front land with generations of work in these calloused hands. They say it ain't right, they say it ain't clean, but nature gave us everything we need. Let it grow wild and free like the good Lord meant it to be. Called up my neighbors on the South County line, said meet me at the church, it's about time. Every farmer with a story to tell came together like the ringing of a bell. We all got roots in the sacred ground. Won't let them suits push us around. Ain't asking much, just let us be, to work this land like our families. Let it grow wild and free like the good Lord meant it to be. They can write their laws, they can make their rules, but they can't take away what nature gave to me and you. Stand up, rise up, time to make our stand. This is our right, this is our land. Now we're marching down to the county hall, united voices rising tall. Got petitions signed by every farm, showing them we mean no harm. This ain't about just you and me, it's about every farmer trying to be free. When we stand together, ain't no doubt, that's what freedom's all about. Let it grow wild and free like the good Lord meant it to be. Meant it to be.
time for Sweet Home CannaBama, a show that'll answer all your questions, provide accurate information, and dispel the myths of cannabis. And have your specific questions answered by emailing Jennifer@CannaBama.com or text or call 343-0106. And now, for all things cannabis in Alabama, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Jennifer Boozer Stewart, because I'm married now, and I'm not going to forget every time I introduce myself. It has been a challenge, and I would like to apologize publicly to my husband, Shane, because I keep introducing myself as Jennifer Boozer, and he looks at me, and I'm like, sorry. So I am 1,000% Jennifer Stewart. Anyway, I'm the owner and founder of CannaBama in downtown Mobile, which closed 3 weeks ago today. You can still call us at 251-255-5155 if you have any questions and need any help besides buying product from me. Hopefully I can point you in the right direction and answer your questions, and I'm happy to do that. We're going to keep that going until people stop calling, and hopefully that will never happen, but you can still call us. So 251-255-5155. And of course, you can find us on social media under Sweet Home CannaBama. I want to get into the show and say a special thanks tonight to Dr. Deidre Willis, who was on the show last week. She hosted the Farm Expo in New Market, Alabama, and I was asked to be a speaker along with other far more important people running for state office. Mandy Letkins, Marty Shelper was a speaker from the Alabama Cannabis Coalition, and the Alabama Cannabis Coalition is endorsing Dr. Deidre Willis for Ag Commissioner and Mandy Letkins for state senate. And so we were happy to be a part of that. We believe that hemp should be regulated by the Ag Department, and Dr. Deidre Willis is eager to take that on. So we encourage you to learn more about Dr. Deidre and put some weight behind her. She needs donations, she needs support, and she needs you to share her information so that the people of Alabama understand that we don't have to deal with the things that have happened due to the fact that the current commissioner has refused to deal with hemp on the retail and finished goods side. Dr. Deidre wants to take that on, and we believe it should all be under one roof. It is an agricultural commodity, and most of the program is under the Ag Department already. And clearly the ABC board is not or cannot handle it. We're a couple months in now, still no rules and regs, still a lot of confusion, and we would like to fix that. I would like to read an article. Bill Britt from the Alabama Political Reporter wrote an article, and I would just like to read it because he said it better than I could, and I'm not ashamed to read other people's words. Republicans in the Alabama legislature must be feeling proud today. Not only have they managed to shutter countless small businesses and cost the state thousands of jobs, but they've finally gotten their trophy. A woman in Athens charged for possessing smokable hemp products under the state's new anti-hemp law. It's the first arrest under this absurd statute, and you can practically hear the high fives echoing through the halls of the State House. This is what they wanted. A law built on panic, misinformation, and moral grandstanding now has its first scalp. Next up, a veteran with PTSD who uses CBD to sleep, then maybe a mom battling anxiety. And don't forget the arthritic family dog who was finally able to get up the stairs again. All in the name of protecting the children. Let's be honest, HB 445 was never about protecting anyone. It was about control. It was about giving politicians like Representative Andy Witt something to wave around during the next election cycle so they can say, look what I did. I banned the scary plant stuff. Never mind that this so-called dangerous product was made legal by this very same legislature not long ago. So which is it, gentlemen? Is hemp a promising agricultural commodity and therapeutic tool? Or is it the new boogeyman of the Bible Belt? Here's the truth. These products weren't some kind of legal loophole. They were lab-tested, regulated, taxed, and sold over the counter. Consumers knew what they were getting. Business owners followed the law, and patients, yes, real people with real conditions, found some relief. Now, with the stroke of a pen and a wave of anti-science hysteria, thousands of Alabamians have been turned into criminals. What happened in Athens isn't justice, it's a warning shot. It's the sound of a government more interested in punishment than policy. And while the legislature pats itself on the back, what they've really done is sow confusion, fear, and economic collapse. Law enforcement officers have publicly said they didn't ask for this law. But in a political climate where outrage wins more votes than logic, reason never stood a chance. Let's call HB 445 what it is: a moral panic in search of a victim. And now it has one. This moment feels eerily familiar because we've been here before. Nearly a century ago, this country outlawed alcohol in a burst of moral fervor. It was supposed to protect the public, uphold values, and curb addiction. Instead, it created an unregulated black market, empowered criminal syndicates, and turned ordinary Americans into lawbreakers. That dark chapter, known as Prohibition, is now widely considered one of the most disastrous policy experiments in American history. And yet here we go again. Only this time it's not moonshine in a mason jar. It's a hemp pre-roll in a legal bag sold by someone who paid their taxes and followed the rules. Are you proud of yourself today, Mr. Witt? Do you feel victorious knowing that your crusade just tore apart the life of a woman who just weeks ago was in full compliance with state law? Maybe you and your colleagues can frame her mugshot and hang it on the wall next to the latest jobs report showing hundreds, if not thousands, of Alabamians now unemployed because of your short-sighted, politically motivated legislation. This is the price of performative politics. We could have regulated. We could have crafted reasonable guardrails. We could have listened to doctors, veterans, farmers, and law enforcement. Instead, we criminalized relief, gutted an emerging industry, and once again made Alabama a punchline. One woman arrested, thousands of livelihoods destroyed, and not a single child is demonstrably safer than they were before. But the culture wars in Montgomery get to declare victory, and that's all that seems to matter. What happens next when they arrest a cancer patient, or a grandmother managing chronic arthritis, or a veteran who uses legal non-psychoactive hemp to keep nightmares at bay? Will they be your trophies too? HB 445 is more than just bad policy. It's a betrayal of the people lawmakers claim to serve. If there's any justice left in this state, it won't be measured in arrest, but in accountability. Because no matter how many lives you disrupt, no matter how many headlines you chase, one thing is clear: you don't get to call it freedom if all you're doing is taking it away. Again, that was by Bill Britt, editor-in-chief at the Alabama Political Reporter and host of The Voice of Alabama Politics. I happen to be a big fan of his. They seem to be able to call it like it is at the Alabama Political Reporter, so thank you for that, Bill. There's actually now been 2 arrests. There was another arrest. That was in Limestone County. A woman named Mary Noble, who's 26 years old. She was caught with 7 hemp joints and a THC vape. But an 18-year-old in Jackson County was arrested for possession of hemp products as well. I don't have any information about that. I certainly don't know how an 18-year-old got the product. I'm sure there's a story there. But again, he is now being charged with a Class C felony that carries a minimum term of 1 year and a maximum of 10 years in prison. And if I haven't said it enough, fentanyl possession is a Class D felony in Alabama. And possession of illegal marijuana is still just a misdemeanor. That, I think, is one of the reasons why some of our businesses tanked the moment the bill was signed. All anyone heard was, I'm going to go to federal prison for 10 years, and they stopped coming. So before the bill even went into effect, it was affecting our businesses to the point where most of us wouldn't survive. I know I was not going to sit and wait. We have no clear direction. This word synthetic has not been defined, and I'm not going to sit there and allow them to come in and seize my product that I don't even know is illegal, or try to tarnish my reputation as a law-abiding business owner. And as probably one of the most vocal people in the state about how we don't sell to children and we don't break the law, I just was not going to allow that to happen. That and the fact that most of my colleagues are barely surviving already 3 weeks in with 10% or less of their income. You know, I really don't understand how anyone can financially withstand this to even get to January and get a license. And as I said before, the DA in Mobile made it very clear to my lawyer that it does not matter if the licenses are not available. If we do not have one, they can come in and do whatever they want to. And so I chose to go ahead and close my doors. From what I understand, what my colleagues are saying they're making in a day, most of that would go to just a payroll for me, much less rent. My landlord allowed me to get out of having to continue to pay the rent if I was willing to go ahead and go. And so I went. When we come back from the break, we're going to get into some intricacies of this with a guest from Kentucky. Stay with us.
The Humble Hemp Shack has been your home for safely sourced hemp products since 2019. Now we are asking for your help. Alabama House Bill 445 was recently signed into law and will significantly impact Alabamians' right to safe, quality hemp products. This bill takes money from the hands of farmers and small business owners and puts it right back into the hands of dealers. You can help by supporting local hemp businesses and by donating to the legal fund found on thehumblehempshack.com, paid for by the Humble Hemp Shack, LLC.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
We didn't know what to expect. We were just left in a hotel.
My mom was doing drugs in the house.
Tay and Brianna spent years of their childhood in homes that weren't safe. They were placed in foster care and longed for a permanent, loving home.
I didn't know what my future was.
I wouldn't speak to anyone. I was afraid of everything.
With help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, Brianna and Tay were adopted and now feel excited about their futures.
I'm studying to be a chef, and I really want to travel the world.
I'm going to be a mechanic, and I can focus on my career.
Right now, in the United States, there are more than 100,000 children in foster care, just like Brianna and Tay, who need a family now. Learn how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight, I want to introduce our guest for the week. His name is Michael Adair. He is the co-founder of Kentucky Farmed. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So I want to tell my listeners, I came across Michael on LinkedIn, and he posted this thing about drinks that I could not stop thinking about. So I reached out to him, and he agreed to come on the show. So thank you so much for being with us tonight, Michael. Tell us who you are and a little bit how you got into hemp. Everybody did something before, Everyone had a different life. I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. So, and I've not come across a single person that could say that. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I want to give Bill Britt a round of applause, because that was kudos to him on what he wrote. Because I'm in Kentucky, obviously, but I still know kind of what's going on in other states, and so I give him kudos for that letter and stuff he put together. But
yes.
Yeah, to your point, I have a very vast background. I was in telecom sales for a long time. Worked in manufacturing, automotive manufacturing in Toyota.
Okay.
Years, 2 decades ago.
Right.
And prior to getting into the hemp space, though, I was actually worked for Coca-Cola for about 6 years. So I have beverage experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found my way into this industry. In 2017, we were still operating under the 2014 Farm Bill, which was a pilot program here in Kentucky.
Right.
So I connected with one of a lot of people's favorite companies, Gen Can at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They were one of the very first pioneers in the industry. There's a lot of sour people about that company now, but the industry was booming. We got into it. It was, it's something people don't normally see in this, especially when you've been in sales and marketing for so long.
Right.
People are just coming left over, crazy, just coming at you wanting to buy a product and really find out about what CBD and what it does.
Right.
So I spent probably 4.5 years there. We had the rise. I think we grew to several hundred employees. They filed bankruptcy when the market started to crash in the hemp industry.
Yeah.
Found my way to a couple of other processors doing water extraction and a number of other things. Took a role as the director of innovation for a large brand called Medterra.
I know Medterra.
Yeah. So I was there for a little bit, and then now the farm that I have now actually used to belong to our former employer, Canna. So we do hemp out of it. We do strawberries. I actually have strawberry plants behind me.
Nice.
But yeah, so we do that. And then I'm also the director of sales for a company called FM Labs out of Colorado. We're probably the largest CBD manufacturer in the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I tell people, I feel like my life could be a Netflix documentary over the last, 8 years or so I've been in this space, the ups and downs and the changes in laws and things like that.
I think there's a lot of us that could say that. If you only knew the crazy things I've seen, done, heard, and been through, because people tell the ladies at my bank, it's hilarious. When I go into the bank, they're ready for the latest story.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
The tea, right?
Yes, what's going on now? And I never don't have a story. I always have at least one and maybe 3 or 4. It depends on how long it's been since I've been there. It's pretty crazy. Some of the stuff I never ever dreamed I would end up going through or enduring, or people. Wow, people.
I will say this, like it's been an adventure, but it's also been one that I enjoy. I mean, obviously the ups and downs and crazy stuff. My wife's asked me before, like, why do you stay in it? But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy educating people on this.
And how addictive is it to be able to say, I can fix that. I can help you with that. Try this, and them come back and go, holy crap, you changed my life. I mean, that is pretty strong stuff, if you ask me. That's why I keep doing it. Because I tell people all the time, man, if this didn't feed my soul in the particular way that it does, I would have left a long time ago. This is too hard. But I believe in it.
Yeah, I've got a number of, anecdotal stories on myself and then family members and things of that nature. And
absolutely.
It's, like I say, like, there's nothing wrong with Coke. I worked for Coke for a long time, but Coke isn't healing people. Right.
Nope.
It's not curing anything. It's not making people necessarily feel better. It might give you like a pleasure for a minute, enjoying the ice cold Coca-Cola or something like that. But at the same time, like having this industry and to be able to actually help change lives, and really help people has been something that's really been a passion of mine. And why I stay in this space.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, let's talk about the current market shift from CBD to derivatives. I mean, you brought that up as something that you wanted to discuss. I remember I did a ton of sales, and all we ever could sell was CBD. I was doing it every day. I was teaching classes, and then Delta 8 came along, and it seemed like there was this massive shift. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, no. So early 2019 is really when the 2018 Farm Bill kind of hit, right? It hit at the very end. It hit at the very end of 2018. So they called it the 2018 Farm Bill, but it should really be called the 2019 Farm Bill.
Right. It was mid-December, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was at the very end of the year. So when January hit, I mean, the market was still very, very much alive as far as CBD for health and wellness and things of that nature. We were, we had clients buying hundreds and thousands of kilos of CBD that were putting into oils and topicals and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, the market, as the market continued to grow, there was market saturation. So like now there's processors and stuff on every corner where there were just a few across the country.
Right.
And so when you go back and look at the stats, I think it was 2019 or 2020, there was like 500,000 acres of hemp grown, where in the previous 2 years before that, there was like 20-some thousand acres. Right. So now you've got this crazy market saturation. So the prices of CBD isolate, the inventory people were buying were really high at the beginning of the year, and then just crashed at the end.
Yes, I remember. It used to be 10, 11 cents per milligram.
Oh, yeah. And now you're talking fractions of pennies per milligram.
Right.
And so when that shifted, there's lots of companies that went bankrupt. GenCan was one of them, and a bunch of others that that were in the market at that time, the big players, because they all invested heavily into the market. Well, then they all kind of bet big and then lost because of the market saturation. And so when that happened at the very end of 2019 going into 2020, they created, okay, well, we can take CBD isolate and convert it to Delta 8. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, are for it, aren't for it, whatever. Right. There's a whole thing. It's synthetic. It's more semi-synthetic to me because it is naturally occurring, albeit very small in the plant. Right. But at the same time, like that really was a pivotal change in the industry and what helped save the industry, because if it wasn't for Delta 8, if it wasn't for that coming on board, there were a lot of big companies that were going to end up going bankrupt and crashing, which ultimately would have affected people like you that were selling the oils and things of that nature. Right. And this helped, that change helped create the longevity that we've had now currently in the market. There's still a lot of health and wellness to it. Obviously, there's derivatives or whatever, but at the same time, like the industry is booming right now, and you see it all over the place, and it's because there was that change. And it's allowed us to keep doing what we're doing. Right. No, I remember in the summer of 2020, it was crazy because it was during COVID. I had 2 stores at the beginning of the year and had taken on a store in our state capital and in the Birmingham area in the same week. And then a week later, the state shut down the schools for COVID and everything went crazy. But that summer, I remember we finally got our first D8 gummies, and even I was a little nervous to try them because I had some paranoia experiences with illegal weed in college. We've all tried it, and I just never was a cannabis person. So I was scared to try it. But we had it in a very limited quantity and from a company that I already knew and had a great relationship with that I trusted. And so it changed everything to be able to offer people. I am a fan of quality D8 because I use it every day myself. I know what I'm getting. I know what my customers are getting. We've never had a single problem with the D8 product that we vetted very heavily and put in the store. I eventually created my own gummy line, and I knew exactly what was being made. I will fight for all of it. I've seen it work for people, and it did give us that longevity. It didn't really, the only thing that really affected my business at that time was that it was becoming more saturated. Yep. But the Delta 8 and then eventually being able to sell Delta 9 in the same way, it did. It gave us so much more ability to help people and give them a better experience in the places where CBD wasn't enough on its own. Correct. And that's look, we as humans want some sort of instant gratification, right?
Yes, we do.
That we feel something, that something's working. Right. And whether it's full spectrum product that has higher levels of Delta 9 or anything like that, or THC, the Delta 8 came about, and it gave people that feeling that something was happening. Right. I mean, topically, Delta 8's fantastic. Absolutely. Awesome. And like, there's a ton of benefits. Obviously, as you mentioned previously and stuff like that, there's bad actors in a lot of things. Yes. There are people early on that were probably making their basement, their garage, or the bathtub, like they say, or whatever. But things have obviously changed. The company I work for out of Colorado, we're the largest manufacturer probably of Delta 8. And we do it right. We're CGMP. We do mock recalls every month. Mm-hmm. So if something were to happen, we can recall that product. We go above and beyond. Yeah, we go above and beyond and things that people don't normally do. Yeah. And we don't have to, right? It's not mandated that we have to do it, but we want to make sure that people get a quality product and that people don't have issues. So many people in our industry think the same way, though. And that's what infuriates me about being lumped in with the few bad actors, as 100%. Andy Witt says, is that most of us have gone above and beyond what we're required to do. And we don't have to. Right. We don't have to. There is nobody that's making us do it. And yet we do it because we understand this is people's lives. 100%. This is their health. This is their mental health. And we don't want to mess with that. We want to help it. We want to make it better. And so we do. We voluntarily go above and beyond. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk more with Michael Adair. Stay with us.
FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
The Gulf Coast can expect mostly clear skies tonight. Low temperatures will be in the upper 70s at daybreak. For Tuesday, mostly sunny and hot with a few showers and thunderstorms, highs to the upper 90s. And the outlook for Wednesday, partly cloudy with a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms and highs in the mid-90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 1065.
I'm Roseanne Haven from WKRG News 5. The mother of a Fairhope woman gunned down by a coworker described as obsessed with her says 27-year-old Kate Schott is tough, and her will to survive for her son is very strong. She will pull through. Police say 60-year-old Brian Medley broke into her home and shot her several times in front of her young son over the weekend. Medley was later found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Schott has undergone multiple surgeries and is listed in critical condition. You could really feel the heat at Mobile Regional Airport today. The air conditioner went out. Some passengers describing conditions where boarding happens as unbearable. For now, a temporary fix to at least keep the lobby and ticket areas comfortable. I'm Roseanne Haven from WKRG News 5.
Native Black cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
The Humble Hemp Shack has been your home for safely sourced hemp products since 2019. Now we are asking for your help. Alabama House Bill 445 was recently signed into law and will significantly impact Alabamians' right to safe, quality hemp products. This bill takes money from the hands of farmers and small business owners and puts it right back into the hands of dealers. You can help by supporting local hemp businesses and by donating to the legal fund found on thehumblehempshack.com, paid for by the Humble Hemp Shack, LLC.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sweet Home CannaBama. We're here every Monday night for the last 6 years and counting now. 7 o'clock Monday nights right here on FM Talk 1065. And you can hear us on www.fmtalk1065.com. And you can watch us on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. Michael, let's talk about Mitch McConnell.
Oh.
Since you're up in Kentucky, honey, let's talk about your boy, Mitch. We have our own Mitch here in Alabama, but we won't get into that.
How long we got to talk?
Right. So Mitch McConnell was like the champion of hemp, right?
Yeah. Well, he was. I mean, you could almost go like the godfather of hemp, essentially, I guess. He pushed hard for it, advocated hard for it.
Right. And so now here we are 7 years after the Farm Bill, and he is now pushing a federal ban on any quantifiable amount of THC in products, which would wipe out everything but CBD isolate, correct?
It would wipe out CBD isolate. I mean, so even when they say the word any quantifiable level of THC, even CBD isolate, some people say THC free or whatever.
Right, we know
it's truly not. The further you go back in testing, you can find trace amounts of THC.
Right,
in there,
0.000014,
right.
But it's still there.
So by their definition, is that banned?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
wow.
Because by when they say quantifiable, that's even gone. So essentially, the entire industry would be dead.
Do you have any clue as to why Mitch McConnell would do such a 180, especially given the success of the hemp programs?
I think there's obviously there's a lot of talk around Kentucky than just in general, but part of it is I think one, we went medical marijuana here. January 1.
Don't say.
Yeah. So the cannabis industry hasn't had a love for the hemp industry for a long time, albeit though there's a lot of big multi-state operators that have now joined in the hemp space. but there's also still little ones. So I think there was some, some negotiations probably happened in the background or something that happened on that case to try to do it. But then also, I believe that there's a big push from on the liquor side. We're a big bourbon state. Obviously, we got a lot of old money in the state from that stuff, and a lot of people who, I talked to a bourbon company a while back here and mentioned, trying to help them create let them create a non-alcoholic bourbon. I can help them infuse it to make a non-alcoholic infused, THC bourbon essentially. And they were like, well, we're in the business of selling bourbon. We want people drinking bourbon. I'm like, well, but you're also missing an entire
right. You can,
group of people.
That's the crazy part. If you want to lose 25% of your sales, as they have in the last 6 years, with the proliferation of hemp in every state and more states than ever, with medical programs and even recreational programs, if you want to lose that and just sell bourbon, great, but leave us out of it.
Yeah. People are just looking for people are looking for alternatives. And I mentioned to them, I was like, well, look, Budweiser's in the habit of selling beer, but they still came out with a 0.0 beer.
Right.
Right. And so, they see that there's a demographic of people that aren't going to drink beer if they don't do that. So they created the 0.0 beer.
Well, how nice of them, since they do create rampant addiction and alcohol deaths every day, every year. Since alcohol was ever invented, people have died.
That's one of the conversations I had. So we went through something similar here with SB 202 to what you guys are.
Right.
It started out as a full ban, and then it was like, oh, well, we're going to give you back your hemp products, but we want to take beverages, and we're going to give beverages to the alcohol side and give it under ABC, and then it's regulated at 5 milligrams per and all this other nonsense. And, I reached out to our state rep, and they're like, well, we got to get these beverages out of the hands of children. And I was like, well, okay. But I was like, look, I agree. Kids shouldn't have these. 100%.
No one's arguing that they should. Exactly. That's the crazy thing.
Right. But I'm like, I would much rather my child get a hold of a THC beverage as opposed to a bottle of bourbon or whatever. And I was like, and I said, for that matter, the hemp industry, like we just talked about a minute ago, has done very well at self-regulating, right? Putting child safety cap on packages and stuff. We don't even have to, because we see it as like children shouldn't get a hold of these things.
Right.
And so I proposed a question. I said, you care about kids, right? You're saying this. He's like, well, yeah. I was like, well, how come beer and alcohol don't have child safety? How come cigarettes don't have child safety?
Why is beer sold everywhere right up front? Yeah. Now we've got Sunny D alcoholic drinks and Hard Mountain Dew. And they're steadily telling us not to market to children, and they're making children's drinks into, excuse me, just choked on air.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Well, no, to what you're saying, I agree. And so, like, even like the week prior, I was in Atlanta for a hemp beverage expo, and literally walk outside my hotel, and a car driving by was wrapped or whatever, and it was a Minute Maid seltzer.
Oh, I saw this. The Simply Lemonade people, they now have.
Well, they have one, but Minute Maid Juice has one now. I'm like, you're telling me kids don't associate Minute Maid Juice and Simply Juice and Sunny D? The kids don't associate with that.
Well, and there was that teacher that brought the Hard Mountain Dew and passed them out to the kids in the class.
So, like, and that's what I told him, and so I think there's a lot of influence on that side towards Mitch.
It definitely was in Alabama, 1,000% the alcohol industry. We know this for sure.
100%. And there's a lot of lobbying right now, I know, going on in DC that, because of the hemp ban he's trying to do, they're like, well, okay, we'll take this away, but leave beverages. Right. And so, and it's because alcohol distributors got a taste of what this industry is doing. And so now they want their hand. And I think that's what a lot of it has to do with Mitch and doing this, and somebody had you and I were talking earlier, and I told somebody too, I made a post on LinkedIn to go, talk to Congress or whatever. Somebody else at another hemp association, I'm not going to name names. So that was like, this is good. If by doing it, basically, it's going to create thousands of jobs for fiber and grain and, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, well, what about the hundreds of thousands of jobs?
That's right.
Cost when this does happen, because people don't realize is you're like, if this passes, and like I don't think the politicians really understand this either. Like, you're not just shutting down the hemp industry. The hemp industry has been going out, like I said, since 2014. Technically,
right?
Got mainstream in 2018. But the thing is there's been other industries that have been impacted from this, from packaging to warehousing to shipping to graphic design to manufacturers, whatever. They've hired labs, they've hired more people, they've bought more equipment's been bought more. I mean, the government's making hand over fist tax money.
Right.
And
well,
so,
that and the license fees and things like that to grow and process, much less sales taxes, employment taxes, the income that we do pay our employees and
That'll
the lost jobs, and then us being left out in the cold too. Leases and invoices we still owe, and taxes we still owe, and loans we've taken out.
Yep.
And it's all just come to a screeching halt.
And I just don't think Mitch cares. Obviously, he's on his way out, and so he's kind of his last thing is, he says he's trying to correct the wrong, and a lot of it, like he even said, it's he says bad actors, and like we always come back to this bad actors are going to be bad actors.
Loophole, Wild Wild West, bad actors. Can we please be original, people? It's infuriating how stupid they think the people are. It really is. It's insulting.
Criminals are going to criminal, right? Criminals are going to.
That's what I say. They don't follow laws, even shiny new ones.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, thing is, like the beverage law passed here. The gas station by my house still selling hemp beverages, even though they're not.
We've still got people here selling flour, and somehow they're not going to jail. But we've got 2 consumers now who've been pulled over or arrested with hemp products. So they're not going after the bad actors. Even now, they're not going after bad actors. They're going after good actors who follow the law, who they knew would comply, and we would die, and the consumers.
The bad thing is, and those consumers, they think they're okay, right? They're like, well, I bought it at the store. I paid taxes.
Yep.
I bought it like it's
I have
legal,
a receipt
right?
and everything.
Yeah. So they leave thinking they're fine, and then to your point, boom, they get pulled over, they're arrested, and like they didn't go after the people that sold it to them or whatever that are breaking it. And so like the black market's going to black market always.
Well, one of the 2 people was 18 years old. Who sold him the hemp? Did he buy it from an establishment that's a bad actor? Or did he get it from another adult in his life, like minors get most things? I mean, I learned after all this was happening that I talked to some teenagers. Teenagers are buying it on Snapchat.
Oh, yeah.
They're not buying it from stores like me because we don't sell to kids. They're buying it on Snapchat, and I'm losing my business. Make that make sense. And then you've got everybody's like, oh, well, you should just go into beverages. No, I don't want to just go into beverages just to make money. That's not why I do what I do. And that's ridiculous because I cannot help anybody with beverages. I can help people get tooted on the weekend.
Everybody can't do beverages because then you just run it again to market saturation and so that. And then that's the thing too that people don't understand that even that everyone's pushing for in DC is, which a lot of it again comes to lobbyists from alcohol and things of that nature, trying to keep the hemp beverages. This industry coming from like I said, I've lived everything from seed to finished product. We grow everything. I've made products for the biggest brands in the world out here. But I'm telling you, like, this industry will not survive on beverages alone.
No,
it cannot and will not. So like, that's what drives me crazy about some of these other associations that are just advocating specifically for beverages and not for the industry. Because if you just advocate for the one, the rest of the industry dies, and then ultimately their industry dies because there's not one to. It's a plant. You can't just go buy this stuff anywhere, right?
Well, and I mean, I've sold several different beverages. It's not a huge part of what I did, but I haven't found one that even tasted good enough that I'd want to finish it. Honestly, I would have to hold my nose to finish it, and for 10 milligrams, no, and I'm not going to give 10 milligram beverages with 40 grams of sugar in it to a cancer patient or someone with MS or chronic pain like me and say, oh, well, you got to eat 7 of these to get any real medicine. And it's going to cost you $150 per dose.
Yeah.
That's not realistic.
Well, that's what kills me too. A lot of this stuff, even the beverage side of it, everyone's still the prices are still so high. And like, I know I told a company, I'm not going to name names. I was like, look, you have to compete and get your pricing closer to like White Claw or High Noons. And they're like, well, we're not competing with that. I'm like, yeah, you are.
Yes, you are. Yeah, because it's sitting right next to the High Noon and the White Claws. You're literally, that's your competition.
Well, you're trying to convert people. You want people to, buy you every week or every weekend and not be a once a month thing. And even in the early on in the hemp space, even currently now, some people still charge an arm and a leg for a CBD product or a full spectrum, and prices have come down significantly, and they shouldn't be that much.
No.
But
in my customers, the vast majority of my customers are using something mostly daily. Yeah. And it's a maintenance thing. It's I can't sleep. I'm already getting the calls. I can't sleep. I'm having night terrors again. I can't think straight. I can't clench my fingers with my arthritis. It's something that they use as medicine on a daily basis, or if not daily, very frequently. And nobody, you're talking about people that use it once a month to go to the lake or something. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk more about drinks with Michael Adair. Stay with us.
The Humble Hemp Shack has been your home for safely sourced hemp products since 2019. Now we are asking for your help. Alabama House Bill 445 was recently signed into law and will significantly impact Alabamians' right to safe, quality hemp products. This bill takes money from the hands of farmers and small business owners and puts it right back into the hands of dealers. You can help by supporting local hemp businesses and by donating to the legal fund found on thehumblehempshack.com, paid for by the Humble Hemp Shack, LLC.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. It can feel like a race against time. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, it's essential to know that you don't have to confront lung cancer alone. Through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. From screening, treatment, and survivorship support to finding the right care close to home, we are your community. As your friends, your guides, your teachers, your advocates, and your support system, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org today.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're talking with Michael Adair from Kentucky Farms. Lord, I just had a little brain blip. It is hotter than a turkey on Thanksgiving in South Alabama, and I am also perimenopausal. So the back of my hair is now wet, and holy crap. Anyway, it was, I think the feel like temperature today was 110. I told my husband, it feels like I'm putting my head in an oven to just even try to step outside.
You can come to my greenhouse. It was 143 the other day.
Oh no, and I'm sure it was fragrant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's get back to the drinks now. Let's talk compliance, because this is what got us together. You posted about how these drink manufacturers in the hemp industry use terms like proprietary formula and hemp extract, and they don't specifically lay out exactly what the emulsifiers are, the solvents that may have been used to convert, all of those different ingredients that should be listed because they're trying to be secret, be the only one, and all those things. But that's not good enough, is it?
No. So it all comes down really to it's 21 CFR, I think 101.4. It's per the FDA is basically a roundabout way. Realistically, what has to happen is if an ingredient provides function, it has to be listed. It doesn't matter what the quantifiable limit is or whatever.
Right.
If it's an ingredient that provides function and does something, they have to be listed to let the consumers know what they are. And this came about because me and some other friends of mine in the industry have been talking about this compliance stuff for a while. And so we started doing more research. It was like, you actually have to do that. And a lot of the brands that I was at the Beverage Expo like a week and a half ago, and a lot of the brands know who they're using for their nanotechnology, but they don't know what's in their nanotechnology because they're told it's proprietary, or like you said, they'll list hemp emulsified or extract or hemp extract or something along those lines. But again, they don't tell you what ingredients are used to make that hemp extract nano emulsified.
Right. And let me just interrupt you there, because a lot of people don't understand that some of these drink manufacturers, they're just getting ingredients from wherever they need to get them from. They're not growing the hemp and extracting it themselves. They have no idea at the end of the day what went into that. And if the company they buy a jar of concentrate from to make 10,000 drinks with, if they don't disclose that, then the company making the drink is now putting out a product that they themselves don't fully understand, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. There's a lot of brands out there right now, even on the D9 side. They think their Delta 9 in their beverages is natural, occurring, or whatever. And, there's not that many. I can tell you personally, there's not that many people making natural D9 to supply the whole industry.
Right.
So a lot of people out there. This whole synthetic thing you were talking about with Alabama, there's a lot of synthetic Delta 9 THC that are in these beverages, but when you put it into a 12-ounce can, it basically dilutes down and looks like it's natural.
Right. You told me earlier that, with the whole by dry weight, the law says 0.3% Delta 9 THC by dry weight. And with there's no by volume specification. So when you remove the liquid from these drink formulas, they are not going to be compliant by dry weight.
I would say there's a lot that probably aren't, depending on how much sugar and other ingredients they have in there. I mean, if you cooked it down, and like we talked about the Farm Bill though too. The Farm Bill is based on the plant material, so there's a whole nuance still on that side. And just so people understand too, so when you talk about nano, like when I mentioned nano and like technology and so that, what that basically means is that people are taking the hemp extract and they're basically encapsulating these little particles and these little bubbles, essentially, right? And so it nano encapsulated, so then that way it gets in your bloodstream faster. Because if you if you were to drink a THC beverage that wasn't nano, it'd probably take 45 minutes for you to start to feel the effects.
Right, and you're not using an oil-based product in you're using something that's water soluble, and that nanotechnology makes it emulsifiable in the liquid where it's actually infused.
I like to call it liquid dispersible, not so much like a water soluble. So it allows it to be liquid dispersible. So now you feel it in 10, 15 minutes or whatever versus 45.
Right.
But again, so a lot of people just say it's proprietary. They tell people whatever. They don't give them the full list of ingredients because they don't have patents on it. I know one company that has a patent on nanotechnology, and that's a company called Volt Matrix. And they'll give their people that they deal with, they actually give them the full list of ingredients to be compliant on their can.
Wow. One company.
It's because they're protected by their patent and so that, and their other people don't because they don't have a patent. And when a lot of people, what happens is that. And again, I'm not knocking brands. The whole point of me, when I started calling this out, the whole point of it is we're trying to be transparent. We're trying to be compliant. We're trying to say, hey, look at us.
Right.
We're great in this. We're leaders in this industry, all of us. Let's do things right. And right now, especially with us coming under fire, under legislation. And so that the last thing we need to have happen is somebody gets sick or something like that happen.
That's exactly right.
A lot of these emulsifiers use known allergens. It could be a soy lecithin or a sunflower lecithin or something of that nature. And if somebody has a soy allergy and they go to a Total Wine or somewhere or another big liquor store or wherever that's selling these beverages, and they get a can of beverage and they take it home and they get sick and they don't know that's in there.
Right.
It's going to be on the brand.
And I cannot imagine how uncomfortable it would be to have an allergic reaction. Hopefully not like an anaphylactic, but an allergic reaction and THC
Oh yeah.
That you're not used to. At the same time, I can imagine that would be a pretty bad time.
Yeah, you talk about somebody having a panic attack, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what's going on, and
right.
so and honestly, and that's a very I never even thought about that personally, but honestly, that's a real experience that could happen. Is that somebody has an allergic reaction? Next thing you know, the THC kicks in too, or whatever, and now they're really freaking out.
Right.
Or worse, they get really, really sick, and that's the last thing we want to happen. And that's why I bring it up. Like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade on any brands, do anything wrong, but it's really the fact is that I see people all the time like, oh, we're compliant, we're this, we're that. Then prove it, do it. It's the same thing with the rosin stuff. I see people all the time put live rosin or live resin
all the time.
And all they're doing is using terpenes. They're not actually using real live rosin or real live resin. There's so much marketing stuff. I'm just like, just be real.
Yeah. Can we stop using the buzzwords, just like loophole and Wild Wild West? I do want to point out, because this is a show based in Alabama, that in the HB 445 bill, synthetic THC is banned. And basically they've said that if any non-cannabis substance is used to extract it or to convert it, then that is synthetic and therefore banned. And based on our conversation earlier and what you've just been saying, that sounds to me like most of the drinks on the market are synthetic by Alabama's definition and should be banned as well. I mean, if we're going to be true to what it says, then, these drinks shouldn't be allowed. If I can't have my gummies that have been converted from CBD to THC with a solvent or supercritical CO2 or however it's done, even though we've never had anyone get sick and it's been incredibly medicinal and therapeutic for them, they're not going to allow us to have that. So it stands to reason that they would, and again, the drinks are the clear winners here in all of the southeastern states. But by Alabama's definition, the drinks should be banned outright altogether.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you might as well just ban vitamin C.
Right. Right. Well, and I don't think they should be banned. I agree with you that they should be more transparent and there should be a compliance crackdown on that. But by the definition per the state in this new law, these drinks that have crashed our entire state industry, they're not any more legal than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, look, if that's what it says, and it's definitely there's definitely a case to be had. Like, I'm not an attorney, obviously,
right?
But the thing is, like you and I talked. I mean, so the natural D9 is coming from two ways. One is it's through CBD conversion. You take CBD, and for simple things, you just soak it in like a Lewis acid for a couple of days, and it'll turn into a high level of delta 9 THC, and that's what's converted. Now, the other side of that is that like when companies like us make CBD isolate, we're left with a byproduct that we call mother liquor, which has all the other minors and delta 9 THC and stuff in there as well. Because we've removed the CBD.
Right.
That mother liquor then runs through a chromatography process. And then the D9 is pulled, the natural delta 9 THC is pulled from that. But again, that all starts with you having to extract everything.
Michael, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, baby, but we're out of time. Thank you so much. Look for Michael Adair on LinkedIn. He is so smart and so intuitive. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you guys, and God bless Alabama Hemp. We'll see you next week on Sweet Home CannaBama.